10 seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining.
VG Gaming's turn to ban. Evil Genius's turn to ban.
Hello. Thank you for that wonderful throw, Slacks. I'm trying to hide in shame after that interview, so I appreciate that. Now people can't find me. Effie is here with me, so is Lacoste, and we're going to be analyzing the draft for the first game of Vici versus EG. I'm going to start out by you, Effie. I know you're a fan of Chinese Dota. What can we be expecting in this draft for Vici Gaming?
I think we're going to see IO very contested amongst both teams. Tidehunter very contested. Weaver, Doom, there they are.
10 seconds
And
remaining.
I think we should expect Vici to go for old 11s here in the first phase. They didn't do that
5
yesterday, and it was quite surprising. I think they were trying to catch Virtus Pro off guard, but it just didn't work. But in the groups, they've had the most success picking the same 5 heroes for 11 in first phase. So I think if they can secure that without getting banned out, it might simplify their strategy on how to approach this game.
Yeah, the matchup that I'm most looking forward to is the mid matchup, because I'm a bit worried for Ori. Like, through the season 1, he's been struggling. At start of the season 2, he played really well. Yesterday, he got bodied by GPK. There was a lot of fixing that needed to be done by both supports. So if it's the case, like, I want to see him on a better hero. I want him to have that extra like 5% in terms of the lane matchup. That's a bit of an advantage. This time around, Vici Gaming, Monkey and Lion.
But I'm so glad you brought that up, actually, because that's something that was really concerning me with Ori. He had a really rough season, and then throughout all of groups, it seemed like he really stepped up his game.
Yeah.
And then when he faced GPK, he just crumbled, and we talked about it yesterday, saying that this is the matchup to watch, right? Ori versus GPK. And in the same vein, if he can't win his lane or just go even with Abed, I'm worried for Vici's ability to match EG and tempo.
You were saying, Lacoste, that you were a bit worried before TI started. That you were a bit worried if Ori was back in TI form. We saw him in groups. He looked good.
Yeah. Throughout the group stage, he really looked good. I don't know what happened yesterday, but he's gonna need to step up if he wants to be matched up nicely against Abed. Because as panel talked about, these EG players, they're really good at putting a lot of pressure early on out on the map, so they need to be ready with the TPs, and we can see ET. This is one of the heroes that is better in terms of counter initiation. EG also, they're not afraid the first phase Ice hero, and here we see it again. Beastmaster plus ET, most likely going to be 5 plus your position 3 here.
And I'm really fond of first phasing your offlane hero, actually, and it's a bit surprising that Vici chose not to do it again, because typically these heroes do get banned out when they need them. Teams end up with a less than desirable Sand King pick or something like an Underlord even, right? So hopefully that doesn't happen too much, but to add on to ET, this hero has just been so excellent. The way that EG play it, basically, is that Crit kind of leaves at some point, and Ice fights or leads the fights for a while, while Crit just sits and farms. He just had a 27-minute Ags or something like that a couple of days ago, and it really works out for them, the way these two players synergize.
ET farm priority, you know that he's gonna give it back. I remember a game where OG won in like 20-23 minutes. Saxa had the 20-minute Aghanim Scepter, so if you can shift your farm, maybe say I don't need that extra 1,000 gold, ET is gonna do miracles with it, because once he gets that Aghanim Scepter, the game just like feels completely different. EG betting out Tidehunter, no surprise there. Beastmaster ET didn't provide you with any kind of lockdown, and we already see Doom is being banned out, one of the better counters for the Tidehunter. Vici had a decent amount of success with the Tide.
And this is what we were talking about how they're just going to ban these really strong offlane heroes in this phase, and we're not going to be left with the ideal pick here, and that happened with the Tidehunter and the Timbersaw. ET's just been so excellent, really, that if Vici don't ban something like a Luna or a Terrorblade, this is the kind of draft that EG wants to play.
Yeah, I believe these two heroes that you just mentioned, Effie, are going to be highly contested by both of these teams. I think maybe we're going to see both of them actually being picked if they're not banned out. One thing I wanted to see coming into this matchup is EG getting more tower damage. I'm talking about sieging the tier 3 towers, and that's exactly what they get from the Beastmaster. We still don't see the carry, because Vici Gaming, historically, they've been the team that decision-making in the late games always going to be good, always going to be top-notch. They're going to turtle as much as they can, so you need to be able to break them.
This Invoker ban from Vici a little bit surprising, but given their heroes, I do suppose that it makes sense, right? Invoker can purge Jingle Sack's not the easiest hero to gank mid with Lion and Monkey King duo support, so.
What hero would you be thinking then for Ovid here? So actually, let's go to the other mid laner for Vici. Because you were saying that you want Ori to feel good right now. You want him to feel comfortable. What are some heroes that we could be seeing here for Ori that would get him back in tip-top shape?
Lina, Puck, Ti10, these are the classic Ori heroes. Even a Dragonite, if the matchup is good, you know, he's not the most flashy hero, but gets the job done.
I think Void Spirit is also a very good hero for him and a good hero in this meta. It's just that yesterday's performance on it wasn't ideal, but he has impressed on it before. I've seen him come back from 30k net worth deficits, but he did have a Dune with him, so that makes a huge difference. I wouldn't mind seeing a Void Spirit for him, that's for sure. It's just depending on what spirit hero they go for Ovid here, it might end up being a mistake, right? So a lot of it is up in the air. And there's the Luna ban that we were talking about. That makes a lot of sense.
Because Luna plus Beastmaster, once these heroes group up together early on, it just feels so good. The tower push that you get from it is insane. You get a lot of team fight as well. Luna with the Eclipse, Beastmaster Core to set things up, and also Beastmaster against Monkey King always going to be good. With the Axis, providing vision with the Hawk. So Monkey in this game might not have the best game, because usually if that's a position for Monkey, he spends a lot of like 90% of the time just sitting on the trees.
Absolutely, and I'm glad you brought up vision actually, because with the combination of ET and Beastmaster, it seems like these areas like Roshan or the Triangle at some point are not ever going to be secure for Vici if EG do manage to win their lanes and snowball that into an advantage. Monkey King is an incredibly popular hero, and I can see why, but as a support, he's so easily countered, especially by heroes like Dawnbreaker and Beastmaster that are wildly popular in the meta at the moment.
So then does that deter the potential flex of the Monkey King? Because you were talking about the whole idea of picking offlane in their first phase, but most teams have been trying to either pick support plus flex or two supports straight up if they have the two picks, not the first and fourth pick of the draft.
I don't think there's anything wrong with Lion and Monkey as your position 4 and 5, because Lion fixes a lot of the draft. Sometimes you see like IO plus one extra hero that doesn't have any kind of silence stun, and then you're in a bit of a trouble, which allows enemy to pick heroes that could potentially abuse that. Lion fixes a lot of those issues.
Also, Lion directly counters Ovid's hero pool, right? Puck and Storm and Ember. So it's a nice thing to secure for yourself early on in the draft. It's just that Monkey King 4 here doesn't seem like it's going to have the greatest game.
There's a Storm 4. You talk about some of the spirit heroes. Storm is definitely in that pool, very confident on the hero. And a hero with a relatively high win rate is Ti.
Well, currently it looks like a good Storm game, right? All there is a Primal Roar. There's no instant stun from the ET. He can jump on him in the backlines and get rid of that natural order fairly quickly, and that's going to be very useful in team fights. I can see him going for something like Orchid BKB this game, just to make sure that there's no issue in what he faces next, right? Because I believe there's still a Disruptor in the pool, which is typically what teams would go for in this case.
Yeah, they might need to get some kind of silence for the Storm Spirit. Lina also still available in the pool. I don't think you want to go for Ember type of a hero, because he just loses the Storm. Yesterday, one of the games, I believe I said 60, maybe even 65. Oh, well, there we go. Sometimes you just have to go for it.
Because it goes both ways, right? Ember can also catch Storm, things like that. It's just that his job is much harder.
Yeah, for just the laning stage, Storm Spirit feels much stronger, and we talked about the silence. You brought it up. Skyrat Mage is going to be that hero, the instant silence that will provide a bit more lockdown for the Storm Spirit. He definitely does not like the plane. You already mentioned the itemization that Storm will need to go for. I think, like, even though you're playing the Beastmaster, BKB as your second item is a kind of must when you're playing against Skyrat Mage, because there are no saves whatsoever on your side. There's no healings. There's nothing that can, buy some time for you to survive in a team fight.
Yeah, so these, as Lukasz was saying, these two picks do ensure an early BKB on Storm, which isn't ideal for him usually. He likes to avoid things like that, but that's just the nature of what happens if you pick him early on. Also, the Slight plus Chains combo is incredibly prominent in Skyrat Mage, right? You think to yourself, yeah, combo with Roar, but it's actually much more low committal to do it with an Ember early game. They should be able to burst Storm, Monkey King, even Medusa.
Yeah, between the natural order and the ancient seal, you have so much magic and
It's insane how much damage you can deal with that. I think VG Gaming needs to get rid of
10
Ursa
seconds
because he
remaining.
feels super strong against the Monkey King and be inside the Wukong's
5
command, even
seconds
though
remaining.
it's going to be a position for Monkey from what it seems.
VG
Natural
Gaming,
diffuser
turn to
builder,
battle.
which is also going to be great against both Storm Spirit and the Medusa. I just overall love Ursa against Medusa matchup. And it's EG's Radiant, so that means that once you do the switcheroo, once the tier 1
Turn to
towers
battle.
fall, you can always go to the top lane and threaten the Roshan, because you have really good heroes. Beastmaster will be providing the vision. That means that VG Gaming need to play around the Roche pit, which something is that they don't want to. They want to be playing the bottom part of the map where they have vision.
That's a very good point.
10
I'm looking at this
seconds
Medusa pick right now, and honestly, VT are in dire need of some sort of defensive
seconds
offlaner that can
remaining.
come and help when the triangle gets invaded, right? But they've already banned everything out at this point. What's left is
VT
potentially a
Gaming's
Mars, but I
turn
don't
to
consider
bat.
him the greatest defensive offlaner. So VT could just take a different approach.
Oh, it's AM game. Like, they need to ban out AM. These are the heroes that work the best in the lane, both Legion Commander and Slardar, because they don't need mana. They can pressure, even if you use counter spell, you're still gonna get dueled, and Slardar one of the
10
best ones
seconds
against AM in the
remaining.
lane for sure. So they need, I believe it's just gonna be AM or Ursa, whichever
5 seconds remaining.
one is not banned, the other is gonna get picked for EG.
I will agree with that, absolutely. Especially just to go back on the point that I was talking on, there really isn't
Evil
some kind of
geniuses
defensive hero to
turn
help
to
this Medusa at the moment.
there's the AM ban you were talking about. So let's see if the Ursa gets picked up.
It's not the greatest Ursa game, but if they hit their tempo, it'll become incredibly potent, right? Because typically later on when he plays versus heroes like this, like Medusa and Lion, he's going to get kited, and Monkey King even when he gets items. But if they just want to play this early game snowball advantage, which is EG's playstyle, they win the lanes and just choke enemies out of the map. Ursa could
VG
work here.
Gaming's
It's a
turn
possibility.
to pick.
Oh, thanks. What about this matchup, the core particularly against Dusa?
I don't remember seeing it, but they have ways of kiting. They have also a great setup with EP Stomp, Aurora, long range initiation, coming out from Slight Chains combo.
10
And it
seconds
also gives them
remaining.
a bit more tower damage. Maybe that's why they decided to go for Clinks.
5
Instead,
seconds
something that I
remaining.
brought up is sieging the tier 3 towers, which is going to be important. And VG Gaming with Medusa, I think they're going to feel pretty safe just sitting there inside the base if things don't go well.
Yeah, they don't necessarily have the greatest hero to go in here. Okay, let's see.
Let's pick Bloodseeker offlane here. Is that
I don't particularly like it so much, but I understand what they're trying to do with it, right? They
Which
want to
is?
just instantly kill a target, right? You could put it on Storm Spirit and then him and Lion just go kill the Clinks together very quickly. Also, they can just use the Rupture for early aggression, which is what I was trying to say. If you're not going to go for the defensive offlaner that's all been banned out, you have to play the aggressive playstyle. You have to pressure them in order for them to not pressure you.
And it's one way to buff up your Medusa. I maybe expected something a bit more defensive, something that can defend the towers. Bloodrite is okay-ish. It's not your, Earthshaker Underlord type of the hero. But looking at the drafts, I never had a really good read on Clinks, to be honest, like how strong he can get, because he gets pretty strong early on. So, yeah, I think both drafts look relatively strong to me.
okay? Well, the final point I want is Michi, team that likes to delay the game. Bloodseeker, great and lane cutting. If you go for the Veil build that used to be so popular, and it's getting popular again. So who knows? Maybe they can play the game. But I'm gonna wait for that because I want to hear your final thoughts here, Effie. He gave me his. Is there any draft you favor?
I would favor EG's draft a little bit more just because it does seem like they can run them over. This Bloodseeker pick, I have to see it properly to understand, but I don't see a clear Rupture target. I guess maybe the ET, but like Clinks is going to stand there and shoot his burning arrows anyway, right? And he's going to do it on the Roar, he's going to do it on the Chains. We'll see how it goes.
Well, before we get into the game, we do have an exclusive interview with EG's coach, Boba, and Frankie's on the sidelines to ask him the questions.
Prepare for battle.
Keep DSJ. Thank you very much, Frankie. Yes, game one. It has just begun. We've got a brief pause. I'm sure it's only going to be a brief one. It's, of course, Evil Geniuses versus VG Gaming. I'm OG Pixel here with Fog.
Hello.
Fog, what do you want to talk about first? What are you excited to see from these two teams?
Well, we've got Ori on Storm versus an Ember Spirit. I think anybody who watched yesterday saw how tough of a time Ori did have in the opposite of the matchup, where he was playing the Ember Spirit versus the GPK Storm.
Yes,
So I think Ori is probably feeling a little fired up. Probably he's like, you know what? I want to do it back. He's a master tier Storm, so that's got to be the most exciting thing for me. However, he is playing into an instant silence, also roots, so game could get a little bit difficult if he doesn't have a good start. But he should have a good start, based off of that.
What's your thoughts really on the way that VG Gaming wrapped this up with the old 11 Bloodseeker coming in as the last pick in the draft?
It's definitely interesting. It's different from their usual. I was actually not expecting that at all. They usually tend to have old 11 on more this type of team fighter. This is just a very different style draft for them, where it's a lot more fight heavy early on to allow to give space to Poyoyo. So yeah, just a different approach. I do like EG's approach a bit more this time around, just because they do have this easy type of catch, and it's a very momentum based lineup that they've gone for this time around.
No, for sure. And you like the sort of the choice of carry this game going with the Clinks. You feel this sort of fits the play style that EG's been rolling with?
Yeah, they definitely really like the hero. Works well with the Beastmaster. The Death Pact, of course, too, is going to be utilized really well when we do have like the Helm of Dominator, Overlord, etc. picked up. He's going to be able to use that really nicely. And I think Effie touched on it a bit at the end there, is you can just hold your ground. I know the Bloodseeker was picked after it, but they've got Chains, they've got Roar, so if you can just hold your ground and get that off, it's nice. And the lane is, I feel like this lane might be a bit tough for 11, even though he's got so much sustain that comes out as the Bloodseeker. He's versus ET, and this hero's just been so strong whenever you have.
Yeah, I mean, how much you feel PYW is going to be able to do to hold back ET? How safe can he keep old 11 up it?
He probably can, because you have the double stuns that you're going to be able to play around later on when you get Hex. So he should have a decent time at least, but I think it's still going to be a little. He's going to have a decent time to at least protect him from dying, but I still think old 11 won't get much last hits up here.
Let's see. He's going to pushing the wave underneath the tower here.
I'm honestly just staring at mid, because like Ori, he has to make up for yesterday. It feels like he had a bit of a rough series after that first game.
Dire's courier has
Easy courier here.
Nice grab. That was the salve. Do they have any extra region? Okay, PYW did bring a salve out. They're going to need to use it soon. We're just watching the poke. Look at old 11. Just getting constantly hit from those searing arrows, hit from the Astral Spirit, and just walk down. He's going to get salved up and have to hide himself for a moment.
Mid lane, pretty even at the moment. 8 for 1, 7 for 1.
I wonder how well they're going to be able to secure Poyoyo's farm as well. It's a Monkey King, so traditionally the Monkey Kings, we'll watch PYW eat a couple hits. He should be okay.
Yeah, it's going to take 2 more. And he's got the Dukes it around the trees. Fly won't be able to find him.
But yeah, they picked a pretty greedy safe lane, it feels like to me. Monkey King, usually versus these melee heroes, he thrives, like Beastmaster. But Beastmaster plus a ranged hero is actually really strong versus this Monkey King Medusa lane. So I think securing the farm for Poyoyo could be a little difficult as the levels do start coming out for crit. Because you can't trade. That's the problem with Monkey King. Versus these ranged heroes, you get on top of them with tree dance, you have to commit for a kill, but trading is just not really much of an option.
And with sort of Beastmaster, the hero in general, why is it that I feel like we just didn't see this hero as much as we thought we would see it coming into the tournament?
Ori taking a hit there. I think it's just a very player-specific hero, and also it's not this big team fighter. I think Ti tends to just bring more team fight than any other tournament, so he's just different. He's a pusher. He's always going to be good with the itemization, especially when Dominator's populator, but you're not a massive team fighter. You're all about like pressing your advantage and taking objectives. Already seeing an early rotation. Grit hanging around the mid lane. Abed is having a pretty damn good time. He's played really nicely around his Sleight of Fists with his Flame Guard and dodged out, I think, 2 or 3 remnants to keep it active. And it's pressuring Ori. And we do see the early point in chains picked up on Abed. So it could look to set up for early kills with those crit moves. Arteezy does take a blood right, a big one.
Yeah, how's he doing for regen? He's just got the stick on him as Fly. He's now got that self back out, he does, so Arteezy will be topped up. Some definite pressure. I mean, old 11, for the struggles you thought he may have up here, he's farming pretty darn well.
Yeah, he's definitely recovered really nicely. Killing that courier, I think, was a big deal, too, because Fly has no regen, so that he can't, like, trade as effectively, so they are able to pressure Arteezy a little bit more. And bottom two, I mean, DY's doing pretty good work. Poyoyo is up to that 17 last hits. I think he secured 1 or 2 boars as well, so whenever you can kill even 1 boar in the lane, it always feels great. That extra big burst of XP. Are seeing the runes being checked out. DY camping bottom. Abed able to get the 1 rune. DY will look to protect this one for Ori. But Abed's coming out even in the matchup, and we saw, of course, how GPK, he really handled Ori in that one. But as we know, Abed very comfortable in this matchup, knows exactly how to play around those slight dodges versus the Remnants to keep Flame Guard active.
I mean, all things said and done, out of all 3 lanes, all cores are having a fine time. Nobody's getting bullied completely. First blood will finally fall on the top lane. And they won't look to die for RTZ. Old11 able to beat him back. So these kills already, they get some level advantage on the Bloodseeker. Setup is there. RTZ, he's in trouble. He's going to get taken down. PYW finding him. And I guess RTZ just not expecting PYW to lead in through the trees and the burst to be there from the setup into the Blood Ride. But it was. That's RTZ out there lane. I mean, that's huge. That's blowing that top lane wide open.
They're playing the lane just really well. PYW is perfectly in position every single time. Mid, we see that crit rotation. PYW is coming in to help.
So they get the kill. And PYW won't be able to set up anything on his own. So EG at least able to make something happen elsewhere whilst the top lane starts to fall apart.
Abed sees a small camp stack. He also identified that there's vision on the high ground there. Actually, cool play there by Abed, dragging the wave to the left so he knows there's an obs ward there. It's only there for 10 more seconds, so unlikely they'll get the D ward. But now mid, PYW shows his face.
Yeah, Abed's just going to jump straight away. He's got the 6 and he uses it immediately. And he goes with the Remnants, the follow-up burst for crits enough. Making sure only used the couple there as well. He's still got the Remnant to reset and return back to the lane.
And immediately double checking runes. Fly checks top rune. They have crit double stacking Ancients to make sure that the Clink stays able to catch up after this little tough start in the laning phase. And they will be able to get that illusion rune top. Abed also steals the small camp stack that we were mentioning from before. Really looking to shut down Ori. They look like they're bringing both supports though now. Vici, this is a very common move we've talked about. I know at Animajor people were really harping on how much Vici did do their double support movements around that 6-minute mark to help out Ori. I think EG's kind of expecting that. They're starting to make their move away. They're leaving RTZ up top and just making the moves around with crit and with fly toward bottom.
I mean, top RTZ's got to be careful. PYW's coming over again. 6 is about to be there on Old11. If they get any sort of setup onto RTZ here on his own, he's not going to stand a chance. Bottom lane. Trying to get in with the aggression, EG. 2 supports backing up Ice, but
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
Keeps himself fired up back. We'll see the attempts up top, but not quite able to go there. Old11 didn't quite have that level 6 here. Still waiting on it in a creep or 2.
They've slowed down RTZ so much. We've seen a lot of times with these Clinks, they just rush the Maelstrom without even boots. He has to go boots in this matchup just because he's getting run down. And yeah, Old11 is gonna be 6 now.
Yeah.
With treads, with Urn, very strong.
I mean, can RTZ even stay up here on his own now? It seems it's so dangerous.
Perhaps waiting for them to maybe overcommit, checking if Abed has a TP, then they'll probably look for a counter gank play. Doesn't want to just straight up abandon the lane. They are seeing the rotation though. They have this ward that Fly did place before he left the lane.
Yeah, he's backing off.
Yeah.
RTZ knows he can't stay up here any longer.
They already have a jungle ward though placed for him, so they're gonna be able to watch him if he ever does farm these camps inside their safe triangle. Abed though, since he sees the storm move top, immediately starts pressing onto mid, looking to go for some tower damage. And they will send Poyoyo to the mid lane. So again, both of these safe laners abandoning their lanes.
Yeah, and Poyo as the Medusa can sort of sit around and farm this mid area of the map without any threat from EG's heroes.
Yeah, they've got the counter gank, same thing, right? Like Ori, he walked top, he didn't make the teleport, so he didn't have to use his teleport. Same thing for Old11, they both have TPs available. If Poyoyo gets gone on, he's priority #1. They'll double TP to protect him. So laning phase, first 8 minutes, Vici, about 1k gold up because of that top lane being so successful, 900 ahead of the Clinks on that Bloodseeker.
The difference in the carry here for Cyril so far, with the ease of lane they had to start things off with. RTZ gonna have to do a little bit more of a recovery than Poyoyo.
First, and also Vici takes the first tower. Usually the team with Beastmaster is the ones who end up getting that first one, but Vici will quickly catch back up as bottom will get sieged.
Nice Vici as well. They're keeping the 3 heroes up around this tier 2. Again, just
Radiant's
Arteezy
bottom
having to
tower
play
has
so
fallen.
cautiously. He's been completely left on his own on this half of the map by the rest of his team with, EG looking for these sort of objectives. So,
middle tower is
yeah,
under
just such
attack.
a scary game for Arteezy in these early stages.
It's great prioritization coming out from Vici. Just, keeping everything up their top, making sure that Poyoyo has all the space in the world. EG does have, of course, that recovery method being built up. We see the stacks,
Dire's top
triple
tower
ancient,
is under
double
attack.
hard camp. So he will be able to farm that. Once he gets his Maelstrom, of course, we've seen this time and time again, the burning barrage on it. So
Stupendous!
I mean, what's the plan here for EG? How do they free this game up a bit more for Arteezy, getting this space secured?
well, as long as he's not getting invaded into his triangle, I think it's now okay. Like, everything's starting to stabilize for them. They're going to start like looking to rotate and collapse on mid with Ice soon. And already they have pretty deep vision as well. Both teams actually with kind of similar style of vision this game. PYW looking for the smoke up. They're taking Ori bottom.
So what sort of setup they can get? DY scanning things out, but Arbed knows he's watching.
They're watching Arbed though. Look at this early ward they placed on the Tinker spot.
Lovely little dodge there from Arbed as he avoids death. Absolutely, he gets caught by one of those stuns. He is gone.
He has a regen too, so he's back all the way up to full. And walking into their jungle is a little scary for the supports. Walking into a Beastmaster with all these creeps. Look at PYW getting slowed down.
AG, they're just charging straight for the line. They'll get him. Jump over with the Remnant. PYW is gone. They might want to try for more underneath the tier 2. DY and Ori are down here.
They're thinking about it.
They have Roar at the ready from Ice, who wants to lead in. Quick jump from Arbed over to the side. It's going to be okay here. Ori not wanting to go for the grab. No, there's a lot of EG around.
Did you see? He slighted and Quelling bladed the tree during the slight to cut DY.
damn.
I mean, he didn't kill him, but it was a little bit of fancy footwork.
I was going to say, just sort of saying, hey, I'm going to do this. Watch out, DY.
I know where you are.
Yeah. Well, there we go. We've got to look out for those plays coming out again from Arbed.
Yeah, DY has to be very careful since he's playing versus the Beastmaster. That's another reason why EG did pick it, since that Monkey King was picked so early on. Gonna always be able to scout out inside the trees there for Arbed to do that. Both teams just getting a lot of farm though. Just chilling back. Poyoyo must be quite happy just sitting inside the triangle.
Radiant's bottom tower is under
Arteezy not
attack.
doing nearly as well as the Medusa. Already level 9 on Poyoyo. Arteezy's only level 7.
Yeah, nice. Poyo's having a great time, and the fact that Old 11's getting so much as well. At this stage, the game, Vici Gaming very much having 2 carries almost with Old 11 farming as well as he has done from that off lane.
Arteezy's game might be pretty difficult. Like, Old 11's just gonna Atos him, just blood right full commit onto him inside most of the team fights, I feel. He really almost has Atos. It's about to be done. That's when we'll probably see the big action kicked off from Vici, but they might look to anyway fight around mid tower since CG is collapsing with that
Radiant
Beastmaster.
structures are fortified.
Let's see what I want to do about this. Vici Gaming TP coming over from Old 11. He's ready to join the crew here. It's Vici Gaming. Everybody apart from DY right now around this mid lane. The tier 1 falling slowly. Oh yeah, he's going to start to try and clear it out.
Haven't shown the blood right. That's their best way to wave clear besides the Medusa snake. We'll stop the push though with that snake, of course, and EG's gonna smoke. Look to catch around the ancient side. I think they're recognizing that, it's like Arteezy's not able to farm the ancients because he doesn't have Maelstrom, and Poyoyo's just freely farming ancients at every single one of these camps, so they have to slow him down.
They've got to do something, and they have got good kill potential with the Mystic Flare. Ancient.
Here I am!
Dire's top tower is under attack.
I'm over here!
Your place.
Over here now!
Comforting rule of it. Unrecorded fire.
Nice try.
Let's see here. What's next here? We're back. Don't know, ladies and gentlemen, if you lost us, but we are back. Not quite sure what happened there. Maybe you can still hear us. And we couldn't hear one another. Hopefully it's all good. Anyway, bit of a rule there between the two of them. Could have got, definitely got a bit messier, that.
Yep, I think EG's probably pretty satisfied. They got Poyoyo. It allows Arteezy to sit back, catch back up. He's got Maelstrom. He's starting to work on those Ancients, as we were mentioning, which is a quad stack. So that should accelerate him almost all the way back up. He's still going to be slightly behind the Medusa, but catching up significantly in levels because of that pickoff. EG probably wanted to get a little more, like pushing forward for that tower, but the positioning there from DY's ult just kind of did dissuade them from pushing forward. And also, I believe it is the Bloodseeker that ends up surviving through all of it too, because he was dropped so low.
It was that last bit of damage for chasing him for crit. But able to actually get back and reset. Oh, 11. They're going to try and jump for him in the mid. They've got the chain set up. Mystic Flare comes crashing down this time. More than enough damage from EG. They get that set up into the ult from crit. And not many heroes are going to stand a chance at this stage of the game. So much damage at this point.
And immediately starting to siege the tower. Starting to crawl their way back into this game. Vici still looking to split up around the map, just looking to get this. I mean, they are playing much more of a greedy lineup with this Medusa, Storm, and Bloodseeker cores. Until they do have that, pretty much the Atos on the Bloodseeker, it's a lot harder for them to just force this action, unlike EG, where their action just needs to come from a slight chains, and then that's a setup for the Skywrath every single time. As we are seeing that 60% win probability from these last few moments. And EG, with that mid tower taken out, they can start accessing into the Ancients and denying this away from the Medusa as well.
And backing up from the mid here as well. 15 minutes in, just 3-5.
PYW has been quietly farming the top lane for a very long time. He is 600 gold from Blink Dagger. Should have a pretty decent timing on that one.
Yeah, that's going to be pretty huge. It's all about the catch for both these squads. The amount of follow-up.
EG just has clear, like, look at this ward. They just completely sees all of Vici walking through, even the ward up on the high ground right above there too. It's going to see them be walking even more so through. So clear information right now for EG of what they want to do with their next move. And Abed's smoked up.
Yeah, ready for that chain setup.
And they even had like a Hawk even as well on top of old 11.
But they want to go through that. They know that how much is standing around old 11 here.
They just need the Skywrath in range with the chains. To see Poyoyo picking up his Manta, so he's got much more survivability versus that chains combo. He's gonna always be able to disengage with it, so understood why he's gone for this item build this time around rather than we saw the S and Y earlier.
Radiant
needs a way to be able to disengage from the Ancient Seal and those chains. And now up to 1k gold lead for EG. Arteezy's getting all the space in the world. Just sit back while his team pressures the Ancient side. Vici might have to just smoke and potentially just try to clear their Ancients because Poyoyo's getting a lot of farm denied away from him.
EG dealt perfectly with the way that Vici were able to gain that lead in the first sort of 12 minutes or so of this. Addressing the problems directly, and now Vici Gaming, they're the ones that have got to try and rectify the state of the map right now, with EG taking control.
Look to clean up the creeps. 2 boars down. Will they get the Centaur? They won't. Slow-paced game though, Owen. 3-5, 1640.
Dire are scanning.
Stupendous!
Now, who sort of benefits from it the most? Do you just sort of look at the Medusa and feel that Vici Gaming are going to be more comfortable with this sort of slowdown in action, or Vici always got the tools?
You know me. There's an ET on one side.
That's true, the ET.
Natural order is a pretty good mechanic.
Yeah.
And Arteezy, he's got total time to catch back up. He's still behind, as we say, versus that Medusa, but so many recovery points. And the game for Ori is difficult. He's going to be going for the Orchid build since you pretty much have to on these Storm Spirits, but a lot of different things that can just trip him up. The instant silence, the chains, these 2 things are just easy. It's either one of them just catching onto him, and he's just likely dead.
And, no sort of ways to bail him out either. It's not like Vici Gaming have any sort of save.
Dire's top tower is under
bail Ori out. He gets caught, he's dead, absolutely.
Exactly, yeah. Ice already has the Helm of the Overlord too, and looks like they're going to find another kill with that. Just amazing vision that they have, really. Like, EG's just constantly able to play around this, because they have all these deep wards down, they have the Hawk that can play around too, and Vici just doesn't seem like to be able to fight back.
No, not at all.
With a Beastmaster lineup, we're getting even 1 kill.
Yeah. Straight to the Roshan. With that continued vision around it, they're going to have any sort of information on Vici Gaming approaching immediately.
It's just dead too fast. Their actual best teamfight hero is the Monkey King in this game, until Deuce starts to feel like she can get involved. Very crisp macro movements.
That's just solid stuff. They're just controlling this triangle completely.
Yep.
They're going to try and find Vici. They're going to hit with the zip and straight over there. Down to play Ori, he's just gone. But they'll lose the agent, but they don't care about the CG. They're more than happy with this sort of a trade. As old 11 also taken down on the front of it all. Now the chains comes out from Abed. Straight over the wall to do some Poyoyo. Will be able to remove the chains with the Manta. but they're still trying to dive in onto him over to the side. The tree is cut, T1 hits the ground. You've got Arbet just diving into the base past the tier 3, chains him back up. He's going to be able to kill the Medusa. Poyo's dead, get back out of there. T1 cut down as well by Crit. As EG, I mean, it's just,
really.
I mean, what did EG Gaming do? It was sort of a slow start, and then as soon as they lost that triangle to EG, they lose the Roche, they lose the team fights, and now this sort of a hit where pretty much the entire team goes down. I mean, EG's just hitting their timings, and Vici Gaming, they're getting shaken up real bad.
I mean, Crit already has an Atos. So that offlane Bloodseeker, who ideally wanted to get some type of pickoffs off, hasn't even gotten an opportunity, it feels like, to use Rupture, to even use his Atos. And as we mentioned, Ori, that was a big risk. He's just dead every time if he commits like that. He needs to have somebody else start the fights.
I mean, he needs to have his next time, really.
He just got the Orchid.
But I mean, as you said, though, it's just such a hard game to play with the Orchid alone. You've got nothing to protect yourself. Yeah. EG is absolutely going to catch you. You can only go in and silence one hero.
He has to have the bodies going for him first. Like DY has to throw his life away, or Bloodseeker has to just throw his life away so that the Storm, so Ori can actually get to play his hero in these lanes or in these team fights, because he's get chains, get silenced every single time he's dead.
Yeah, I know. And look at this as well. EG no stopping straight round to the bottom lane.
And look at Abed too. He's had the Javelin locked the whole time for that Maelstrom, and he's just going straight for BKB. They might just end this game really early on.
Absolutely. I mean, with the push potential that the Beastmaster can help them with, they have every means to take a sort of early high ground. They take one more fight against Vici like that one just now outside of the base and are able to wipe them. You know, these tier 3s of Vici game are going to get focused very early on in this game.
And they're even just pushing bottom. Like they have to address this on the side of Vici because of how big the Beastmaster is. They're always going to have to send a hero to react. And because of this, now look at EG. They're
look at this wraparound. I don't know if Vici game is going to be ready for EG coming from this angle.
They're trying to bail out. They know.
11. He will manage to TP it up. It just disappeared.
Did he even get it disabled? I think he just died to the sheer damage.
It was just the raw damage. He goes and he's just gone.
That's not even with everybody too. Ice was still just lingering around the mid lane. They kill the Skywrath, but they lose 3 big ones.
And everything continuing to plan here for EG.
It really has just been picture-perfect planning for them. Yep. After those lanes didn't go perfect for them, they, like you said, invading the triangle, denying that away from the Medusa seems like a recipe for success, as they have just so much dominance now. 2 tier 2s taken out so early on, now just going for top as well, and the control continues.
Actually, it's going to be another tier 2 soon. Yeah, I mean, if they keep this pushing and turn just the tier 1 into a tier 2 as well, I feel like this has got to be one of the games where all tier 2s have gone down the fastest if EG keep this up.
I agree.
Just some insane push in early game here from Evil Geniuses. Vici Gaming, they've got to regroup, gather themselves, and think about how they're going to hold it in any sort of team fight. They're going to try and have a move here. Ori going straight over towards Fly, but Fly's pretty tanky here. The blow right will come out, the Fly's still alive. There's silence, Ori's gone. DY as well. The damage comes through from Artesia's. Old 11 hits the deck. Fly alone. But now Poyo surrounded by EG. B1W will attempt to help out, but he can't keep his Medusa alive. And they're going to call it 22 minutes in. Evil Geniuses just destroyed Vici Game, and they just slam them out the way. This was a complete beatdown, and EG, I mean, this is the cleanest Dota they've brought out so far. Yeah. It was picture perfect. They
10 minutes
ticked
of
all the
perfection.
boxes.